Hello ratbags, it's Jade, welcome to the survival show. Lots of big stuff going on today with free new content for No Man's Sky, paid DLC for Conan Exiles, and a bunch more to do with some of the smaller indie games. Also, what's going on with Sons of the Forest, a big dirty rumour going around that we could see a Halloween release. I kind of call in bullshit on that. I'm going to give you the details. I'm also going to talk about microtransactions and basically supporting games. What do you prefer? Games that give you big DLC like Ark once a year, or games that drop packs like Conan Exiles, or just skins like Rust? Let me know in the comment section. Grounded's just had its biggest and best update ever as well, and a whole lot more. Timestamps as always to skip what you want to know, and I'm going to be talking about my second channel, Jadecraft, coming very soon. Let's go. Icarus Beta Weekend 5 is about to begin, opening up on October 22nd with 5 PM PDT time, and it's going to be ending on 25th October. Remember that we've been extending these weekends by roughly around a day. The latest weekend offers a glimpse into the desert biome. Last time out they showed off the mission structures of what you'll be facing once the game fully comes out, hopefully at some point in December. Apparently there's going to be some sort of cave or corridor entrance to the actual deserts, and looks like there may even be a bit of a challenge getting through them, judging by what it's saying about being close to a gas giant planet nearby that causes big massive tidal forces. Effectively, it's a mission to get there, and it's going to require at least one of you to be level 25. You'd also need certain recipes, I'm guessing armor pieces, to get through. Obviously, as you would expect, being in a desert environment, you're going to have to take care more about your heat, pretty much making sure you've got the right kind of armor or stuff to regulate your temperature, as well as making sure you've got more water. There will be water sources, but they're going to be a bit fewer and far between. And at night time, you still may be going to need some decent warming gear, as obviously the temperatures are going to plummet as well. Also stating on the Steam page that plant life like fibre and wood will be harder to get in the desert, and you're probably going to need a bunch of anti-poison pills as well, and tonics to help you maybe get through the environment. Sandstorms and heat waves are going to be hitting as well, and apparently they've got brand new wildlife. Looks like some sort of wildebeest creature, and elephants. Here's the playable area that's going to be open. They're also actually keeping up the mission from last weekend that they did. So if you're still a bit behind like I was, I totally missed the last weekend's time. This is all the brand new zone, and clearly it looks like the entranceway isn't just a case of going through a crevasse. You are going to have to find some sort of cave to take you through. Level cap's going to be level 30, and yeah, it's looking decent. Conan Exiles 2.6 update has gone live earlier on this morning for all platforms, I do believe. Alongside it is another DLC pack, People of the Dragon. As usual, these packs are $10, so around $7.99 in the UK, I do believe. 48 new customizable building pieces, 15 new armor pieces, 12 new weapons including shields, 32 new placeables, books, flags, beds and fireplaces, and 3 new Nemedian horse saddles. I think for long-term fans of this game, a lot of you guys are going to enjoy the building pieces. Clearly, Conan Exiles has got its whales, players that return time and time again and buy every bit of DLC, and they pretty much do nothing but play the game. For more casual fans, I feel like this is still just a little bit too boring. It's pretty safe, it's pretty much sticking to what they know, and I guess that's the idea. Let me know if you're going to be enjoying the new content. Are you going to be doing some epic builds? Have you been playing Conan religiously, or are you going to be returning to it simply because of the skin pack? Be interested to see what your thoughts are on it. As always, the weapons and armors are technically not pay to win, but there is a paywall involved, as they're not strictly cosmetic items. They are items that you can craft with different resources. And although they've got the comparable power, Conan seems to somehow slip behind any sort of criticism with this. I may have been bringing it up pretty much for the last 3 years, but it is a bit weird. But anyway, you guys let me know, is 2.6, which allows you to move pieces once you place them, big enough with all the hotfixes and changes alongside some of the armor balance and stuff, good enough for an update like this? Or are you just hopeful that the next big one, 3.0, is really going to do a big shot in the arm for Conan? Rust Console Edition, my favourite go-to ranty game, has got problems with its skin store. There's a huge amount of issues with players trying to connect to it. Maybe that's a good thing, that you shouldn't be spending your money on this trash game at the moment. It's a significant issue since it launched, under delivering on content, overdoing it on the price, and now expecting players to cough up loads of money for MTX when it really doesn't deserve that kind of support. Not yet anyway. Of course, you wouldn't know there was any problems because it looks like they're not bothering to update anywhere else but their Discord about any issues that are going on. Quick glance at their actual dedicated site to show you any server status issues. Shows you it hasn't been updated since August the 17th. Since then, I've had at least 2 patches and this big one announcing this stuff. In fact, the only communication anyone's got about problems being able to access the store is from one of their moderators trying to do some absolute nonsense glitch workaround so you can actually access the store. That's how bad Rust is at the moment. I've spoken a lot before how their moderators are overzealous and they seem to ban anyone at the drop of a hat if you dare even do some constructive criticism against the game. But not having any of this information kind of available anywhere else is poor form. They do have their test live servers going now at last, and as I've told you guys, it's locked off behind Deluxe and Ultimate Edition. You can't actually access it even if you wanted to, unless you actually bought the more expensive editions of the game, something no other game has ever done. Not as far as I know, definitely not in the survival sphere anyway. They've just started promoting that they might have some Halloween skins available as well, so I guess you might get excited if you're really some 12-year-old lovesick kid in lust with Rust. You do you. So if you wonder why I can be a bit harsh on games like Conan or possibly even Rust, I mean I think everyone should be harsh on that game, you only have to take a look at what No Man's Sky and Hello Games are doing. Regular updates, free content, no MTX in sight. Now this one is a bit more of a spooky Halloween themed one, and kind of tying in with the latest movie Dune. You're going to be able to pretty much tame some of the sands worms that you can see in the game, get all sorts of new cosmetic items that you can earn and find, and yes, you will be able to ride the worm. It's a great little feature. It's not the biggest update ever, and it's very specific to one set or batch of planets that have these creatures on, but it still shows just a great aptitude in providing for your fans. This is why I don't like cheerleading games that just do nothing but sell MTX. These are the games we should be behind. Yeah, it's got its history, and yeah, the game might not even be for you. It may not be your cup of tea, but you can't argue with the fact that this game is somehow doing this, and yet other games are still just getting as much money as they can from you without actually delivering much more. So go and check it out. It's called Emergence. There's a bunch of new missions tied to it. It's part of their exhibitions, bunch of new cosmetic items and rewards that you can unlock. New looks to stuff as well. Get yourself a ghastly trail to add onto your jetpack. And you can even use fireworks made out of flesh of aliens. Great stuff yet again from Hello Games and No Man's Sky. The pinnacle of what other developers should really be aiming for. If you're going to sell MTX, make sure you've got content like this happening on a regular basis too. Craftopia pushed out an Xbox update this morning which adds a bunch of hotfixes as well as a major update, Summer Update 2021. I think this has included the scientific research stuff that's been added to the game, creative mode and new weapon types, as well as new races, elf, demons and apparently brainy rotating swords. Brand new enemies like the Hydra, and I've got lots of flight units like jetpacks and rafts too. Sounds pretty cool. I have to admit I've been avoiding Craftopia. I did see a bunch of problems when it first launched on the Xbox, loads of issues making it even unplayable for the majority. They did hotfix quite a few things over the coming weeks, but yeah, I've still been waiting until it gets a bit more stable before checking it out again. On Steam it's actually got pretty decent reviews, over 80% positive. So certainly the work they have done ever since it entered early access over a year ago definitely has been proven to show they've got a good community and they're kind of servicing what they said they would. So yeah, definitely want to get back into this at some point, just finding the time and hoping that it's just more stable in the Xbox version. Don't forget it's also in Games Pass I do believe, so it'd be a good time to try it because it's for free if you own the Games Pass. This land is my land. Survival role-playing game set in America has just left early access. Didn't have much of an announcement about this actually happening, just suddenly appeared in my emails to say that the game has left. There's no big content drop that's come with the full release. I do believe that was the one just before that had railroads and trains and more realistic survival mechanics in the game like thirst, hunger, fatigue and illness. But definitely I want to check this out in the future as well. Another one I've got to devote some time to. Now it's the finished complete experience. I did try this way back when it did release and I found it interesting if a little bit clunky, but again it looks like a good amount of work has gone into the game ever since it launched into early access. We've also got a bunch of new world bosses in the game as well, and you can make war parties now. They did have a little bit of controversy a little while ago, as it turns out they haven't had much actual proper support in terms of actual historical accuracy, i.e. they've not had any Native Americans actually working on the game. They referenced that they've been getting some support and kind of consultation, but they couldn't actually prove who had actually given them any consultation. And I do remember there was a bit of a furore a little while ago about certain things in the game that just didn't really sit right. But regardless, most people were saying it's a fairly decent game. All the war paints and stuff added to it, fishing abilities, first person perspective. Doesn't look like the multiplayer section is pretty decent as well, where you can avenge other players if they die. Yeah, for sure, I'll have to give this a shot in the next few weeks. No news yet about whether or not it's going to be coming to console. It hasn't sold as well as other games, so I'm not 200% sure if it will maybe make it that way, and certainly not for a while yet. But yeah, an interesting take at least on the survival genre. Undying has launched into early access, the zombie survival game where you have to teach your son how to survive after you get bit by a zombie and you've only got a limited amount of time to do so. You'll have to teach him the basics of survival, crafting, gathering and foraging for loot, and then taking care of any of the zombies that you'll come across. Came out a couple days ago, and so far again, review scores are so far pretty positive, 91%, I'll bet only 100 reviews or so nearly. It is an early access game. It does look like they have plans for console. I do remember them announcing that they would be hitting either Xbox or PlayStation in the future too. Maybe a little bit more simulation based and survival sort of mix, but certainly something very interesting. Early access on Steam right now. I know a lot of you guys want Sons of the Forest info. We all kind of want Sons of the Forest info. The devs have been pretty quiet and cryptic about any kind of information. So take everything what I'm about to say with a huge pinch of salt. And I wouldn't normally comment, but I've seen a few comments now from other people on videos on mine stating that there's rumours going around that the game's going to release on Halloween. I can categorically state right now, in my opinion, I think this is all bogus. I just can't see Sons of the Forest possibly not really giving up some sort of info or showcase ahead of its release. And that's true, the developers have always done their own thing. They've not been great at communicating stuff at all. During their early access years on Steam, it was one of the regular criticisms that they weren't maybe doing enough to help and promote their community. They gave status updates, but there was lots of delays, as is pretty normal in early access. But once the game came out, they suddenly just started dropping content, and they wouldn't ever really tell anyone it was happening either. They've been pretty quiet since their announcements of their sequel, only giving a select few little interviews to maybe 1 or 2 publications and maybe just one YouTuber, Farket, obviously like the godfather of forest content on YouTube. Now it does contain a lot of answers, all the content he's done, but that was a while ago as well, and we still haven't heard anything new. The latest rumour mill is that someone has posted on 4chan. It actually makes my skin crawl even having to click on the site, because it's absolutely usually full of bullshit. But according to all these rumours, and just to stop you guys harassing me about including it in a news video, yeah, they seem to think that the game is going to be scheduled for release of Halloween. Now bearing in mind this report also stated we'd see a trailer in the early part of this month. Well, we haven't seen anything so far. I'm going to say this rumour is bullshit. As much as I want to be hyped for the game, and I certainly will be once we actually get confirmation of it, I've got a feeling it's going to end up being pushed back till next year. Of course, we did have a release date of 2021, but they may decide to launch in December. Like I said, they have been pretty secretive in the past and just doing their own thing. So we'll have to see how that goes. Smalland's got a few little questions answered, only a couple, but continuing its info about its demo, it will eventually have running. Of course, the game has been delayed until next year, but I have said that once the demo is available for you to try out, you will be able to play it with your friends. They've also stated there will be lots of mounted combat as well. Not all mounts will be able to utilise their abilities and you'll be able to fight on top of them, but certainly some will be. Dragonflies are going to be fast and moving across the water at great speed, but they're not going to have any attack. And grasshoppers are able to leap huge distances, although apparently lizards are going to be drawn more to them as they are their favourite food. The Hornet is a mighty steed, and although difficult to obtain, its powerful stinger and resistance to certain venoms give it a clear advantage over many creatures not at all. So that's pretty decent. That's at least like 4 mounts that we know of now. So great stuff, can't wait to deliver more info on this. Merge Games, responsible for Smalland and a bunch of others, have set up a brand new playtesters sort of group. You can sign up for it now, and if you're chosen, you'll have to sign an NDA, but you will be able to maybe test out some of their games. So if you do want to get involved in Smalland's development, then absolutely go and sign up for it. I'll leave the link in the comment section down below. Grounded update launched yesterday for everyone. It's been in PTS for a couple of weeks. I've been flooding my channel with all sorts of content and guides. But look out in the future, my second channel, Jade Craft, is going to be launching very soon. And that's where you're going to find even more content like Grounded, like Smalland in the future, maybe even games like Craftopia. Basically, I'm going to try and split my content a little bit more. Have one channel for more chill games, survival, farming, crafting games, a little bit more indie influenced. And then the big news, the big games like Sons of the Forest, Ark, Conan, DayZ and stuff like that, that'll all be on the main channel. I think for too long I've kind of mixed a lot of my content together, and sometimes the age gaps and differences between that and interest in some of them games means that a lot of that content doesn't get watched as much as it should be. And because it's not getting watched because you're not interested in smaller, crafty, chill games, then that content doesn't get pushed out enough. And even when I do return to something you do want to watch, maybe like Sons of the Forest or Ark or Conan, you're not getting recommended enough because YouTube thinks you're not interested in my channel. So that's what the plan will be once half term is finished. I've got my kids for a good few days celebrating their birthdays, and then I'll be back on it setting up my second channel. I will still be showing all of the game survival news on the main, and I still will revisit games like Grounded and others like in future Smalland, as well as Hightail, but there'll be definitely much more in-depth stuff, longer format stuff, let's plays and much more on the second JadeCraft channel. Anywho, Grounded update, the Hot and Hazy is its best ever. If you've not played Grounded yet, absolutely go and do so now. It's really fleshed out the game, giving it a bunch of RPG mechanics. You can now upgrade your swords, your character, and there's 3 new big biomes to explore, as well as some more smaller mini ones. New creatures, new enemies, all sorts of new things to research and unlock. Honestly, if I'd put Grounded at number 9 recently, my top 10 survival games, it will now be in the top 5. It's on Games Pass, you've got no excuse not to give it a try, and we're still well in the middle of early access. They've probably got at least another year. So great stuff from Grounded. You are going to carry on seeing a bunch of content from me on the main for the next few weeks, but as I said, coming towards maybe the middle of November, that's when you'll start seeing even more and more of the content actually on the second channel. And as always, more little looks at independent games coming in the future. Try Primitive Builder, I showcased and said that it's hopefully going to be releasing this year, where it looks like that's now been pushed back until 2022. Finally changed the release date, and it does look decent. They've been doing lots of vlogs showcasing the world, the tools, the weapons and the building in the game, and they really want to go over something called Discovery. So it looks like they've borrowed heavily from Skyrim's upgrade system, but you can see that you can get different levels of tools. You've got the hatchet here that you start off with the most basic, then you can upgrade it to the simple, the advanced and then the master hatchet. Basically exploring the world will give you sparks of imagination, and this is what you're going to be able to use to upgrade your weapons and tools. So it sounds pretty cool. I like the idea of this one. At least it's something a bit different, or just at least the way they're showing it off. So yeah, I'm going to, as I said, keep more of an eye on this one going forward. And as soon as we get any kind of confirmation of a full release, I'll let you guys know. But there we go. That is the survival show as of this week. I'm taking actually a week off now, more or less, unless anything huge breaks that I might get a bit of time to work on in the evening. I am doing my best to actually take some time off. I've hopefully got a few videos incoming. If you don't see anything in a few days, don't panic. I've not died. I'm simply actually chilling out with my kids. So until next time, I'll see you ratbags later.